Live brave and stay wild. You know, I'm not gonna speak of my great grandfather, James Henry Wooten. Yeah, my great grandfather. When they left and returned, when they left, they didn't go back down south. My great grandmother, Lily Hooton, and James, and my great grandfather, James Henry Wooten, made it to the north. It's a migration time period that's the reason why they went that direction. It was still within them, being of Chickasaw. Yeah, we didn't just stay on it. We stayed on the Mississippi like 38th parallel. When you get cool and it stays warm. But there were certain parties, for certain reasons, that migrated. That's why I said you'd be surprised. And Michael Rappaport came on and created his YouTube channel to come on there and be the slanderous little Jew they are, because they're not Jews. I should know. I got two uncles in New York to make sure I knew. And I've heard it over and over and over for the last 30-something, almost 40 years. I've seen ex-rabbis. I've seen run up and say, you're the chosen children. I read Frank Quester's book, the 13th tribe. Why is it now all of a sudden, because the world's full of lies, the hypocrites are stronger? My great-grandfather in Harlem, New York, strapping, very big man. We come from the giant killers. You need to understand it's not the brothers we worked with. And I'm not saying that to be grand or great. But there were giants that were bad, evil, and abominations. And that side of the Chata, that's what I am, of the Yamanation, just like my mother was before betrayal by the Chickasaw, but only because of sides. We had to hunt them down. We were the ones that were capable, like the Pequot. But the Pequot were taken out first for some weird reason. The Pequot were sent down to the Caribbean, and some of the first to end up over in England, and after the first migration, segregation of most of the people who are in Africa. Not all, but the majority. When Hannibal betrayed Alexander, just as General Lee Custer betrayed the South with the help of the War Secretary and a few others. Well, quite a few others, actually. When he was in Harlem, he straightened up some stuff. He was in his late 40s, early 50s. He was shot in the head. No, he was 45. Was he 45? Or was he? He was murdered in Harlem. Shot in the back of the head, in the back, by a coward who now knows. My grandpa, for numerous reasons of we call it depression, yet it was a loss, it was a lonesome feeling. Well, he was a fighter as well. I hope I'm saying this right. He drank himself to death. He had lost so much. And I think he was 45. So my great-grandpa was 40, 45, 48. And my grandpa, I don't hear them. But anyway, there's one other. My father, he lost the love of his life. And the new CIA pushed heroin and cocaine into our neighborhoods by way of Zionists, operators, and the Kabbalists. It's a known fact. Yeah, when I say Kabbalists or Zionists, you can call them whatever you want. They could be of different orders of sex or whatever. Those people who are chosen because they're sociopaths, or they really believe in their cause. And I was 20 years old right before I departed for the Nimitz. I stayed that summer with him. I stayed this summer with him. I carried the stick with him. I learned things and saw things I just never thought I would learn or see. Dave was big, you know. He's ex-Rikers Island inmate. And him and Van Long were wrestling. Van Long was a big old joker. They both were in their 40s. My pops was in his late 40s. They were both pen pal, you know, Rikers Island. Back then in the 70s and 80s. Shit. How many times he been locked up? Since Vietnam. He had a scratch on his head. Now you got to remember, he liked to shoot. He shut up cocaine. He didn't like the heroin. He shut up cocaine. Actually, I had to hit him twice. Because he couldn't do it himself. That was the hardest thing. One of them. We were across the street. Mayflower on one side, packing company, moving company, and AT&T on the other side, a very old looking building that was redone to look a certain way, and a shopping center to the back of me. I believe it was still Pathmark at the time. No, actually, yeah, yes, yeah, I believe it was Pathmark. Was it Pathmark? It was whatever it was. I can't remember. And there was a movie place, a corner store right there that sold liquor and stuff like that. He decided not to get the scratch on his head clean. And it was a week and a half later that I was with my pops. We was waiting on the bus to head up to the mall. I was going to take him. I was going to take him shopping. Was I? I can't remember. It was so long. I mean, I remember a lot of things, but that day was a shock because he went into a seizure right next to me. My uncle Reggie Lee was driving down in his hot rod, his collar Dodge. I forget 60 whatever what year it was. You know the Dodge when the hot rods they sit up nice and high and low in the front and shipped around the collar shipped anyway. 3-speed, I think. He pulled right up across the street, jumped out and ran across Moonful Avenue to assist me with my father, his brother-in-law. Now, Dad didn't get along too well with my uncles. And this is why I say it's a documented history. Is it real? I don't know. That Chickasaw saw it on my side of my family. You know, made my mom's side POWs. And for some reason, that's going on a lot of inner tribal issues. A lot of people fighting in communities because a lot of people are cousins, second cousins, all related. And my father used to always tell me who I was. Come out of high school, I would see him, give him $20, $30, regardless of what he did to us. So it's because he was living in a hollow then. I think it's somebody's basement. I say this because good men who don't mean to do bad things or don't do bad things, like good men who don't go out to do bad things with no purpose and for purpose. With no purpose. Say it right. I believe have to return to the source because the calamity can only get worse. I've outlived three of them. I'm not going to speak about my great-great-great-grandfather, James Henry Hooton. He had his own, whatever, things that were. He was a good man, strong man. Very good and strong man. Just like his wife, my great-great-great-grandmother, great-great-great-great-grandmother, Lily Hooton, Chickasaw. They were, at that time, the process was starting to I think about what was it? I think 40, 50 years later, after 1839, there was 1839, I think it was 5 or 10 years later, that it was planned that they would start erasing the man's history. See, they had to assert themselves because that's what fascism is about. A man-ruled world, which didn't exist with us people. And that started with the Zionists. To put something that never existed and create division, disharmony and imbalance, where the man can beat the woman and do as he pleases. And the woman shall be obedient, and religion was the accord. Very destructive, because its truth would have most running and quaking. I buried my father, who should not have transited a past if it wasn't for the creation interference in our time of confusion. They betrayed our time of confusion, and for that, there is no high price. There's no wealth or worth great enough to cover the expense of what must happen. If they were as smart as they claim, they would stop. But they're not. You can take the best of the worst and create all kind of weapons, and there's still a million more who are smarter and brighter and more intelligent than them, who have yet to have been tapped into it because they have not been triggered, actually. I tell you, I've outlived them because I have a purpose other than theirs. But when my purpose is fulfilled, I should be on too. See, there's a difference in knowledge, and it's different between knowledge and knowing. But one can support the other. Knowing is based on the knowledge you've acquired. Knowledge reciprocates the knowing that you know. So, one never knows when the mission is accomplished. It just happens. Anyway, I just wanted to drop that a little be ha ha ha. And know that I love y'all. I'm about to go sleep. I'm tired. I'm hungry actually, and this is the latest I've ever been up. Cause I was watching the school for good and evil, only because it caught my eye on YouTube some time ago, not too long ago, but and I was thinking about the pale wolf and the dog wolf. But the story of the pale wolf and dog wolf is so broad. Anyway, I know I bored you guys. I am tired. I've had my little 2-3 hours for the night. With pimentos, not garlic. No, I love y'all. Like I said, And I hope y'all didn't go out and be all crazy tonight. You know what I'm saying? And I'm tired. All right? So, yeah. Y'all have a grand one.